So every day before lunch, we take turns giving a short talk. And I just want to point out that we have 4 very eminently qualified teachers among us, but I am the person in the rota today. So you get me. So anyway, hello. Um, and the topic that's been on my mind, I don't have much of it on my head, but is the topic of hair. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. More specifically about head hair, which is quite different from body hair in terms of how we relate to it. So when I was very little, my mother liked to keep our hair short, and that's myself and my younger sister. And I asked her why when I was older, and she said, oh, for practical reasons. You know, if I keep your hair short, it's easy to wash and maintain, it's very low fuss. So because of that, I was often mistaken for a little boy. And it was annoying at first, but after a while, I just got used to it. And I had a lot of cousins that I was very close to and that we played with on the weekend, and they were all boys. So I very much wanted to be one of the boys to fit right in. So the short hair was helpful. And then when I was 15, the government built a new train station near our apartment complex. And with the new train station, there came a new shopping mall. And with the new shopping mall came a new hair salon that was very fashionable. So because I was 15, I went and told my mother, I don't want to go to your hair salon anymore. It's very old-fashioned. There's a new one. I'm going to this new one. And she says, fine, as long as you can pay for it from your own savings, from your pocket money. And they had a student discount. So there I was, all grown up at 15, going off to get my own haircut for the first time. And because it was a fashionable hair salon, they told me that year, what was the most hip haircut on the runway was something put together by Giorgio Armani. I don't know if people remember this. It was a very androgynous look where both the male and female models had their hair cut high above the ears, and it was flat on top, and it had a standing fringe that you had to style with gel to make stand up. And she said, well, your hair's already very short. I'm sure this will look good on you. And I'm like, okay. So I get this super short haircut with the flat top and the fringe, okay? And now I have to wake up 5 minutes earlier every morning to style it. And I was going to an all-girls school at the time. So, I go to school, and I was already in with a fairly popular group of girls, but I was on the edge. Yeah, they were all like jocks and cheerleaders, and I was the one artsy, strange person. So I go to school with this new haircut, and I'm in the canteen, just, in the morning. And these 2 girls from the basketball team who had never spoken to me before come over and look at me. And they kind of circle around me and check out my haircut. And finally, one of them says, your hair is cool. And like that, I became very cool because of a bunch of dead cells that went this way on my head. Girls started writing fan letters to me. I would get gifts from people, and I knew it was all because of the hair. So now I had to maintain this haircut perfectly for 2 years, the rest of the end of that school life, and I would wake up dutifully every morning to make sure it stood up. And every time Venerable gets us to meditate on the stupid things you did for your reputation and status, this is definitely one of them. Because I look back at those photos, I look like a rooster, with this comb. And I was obsessed with it because I thought it was the secret to my popularity, right? Yeah, so that was middle. I think all of you can connect, yeah? I can't be the only one who woke up early to do whatever hip hairstyle it was at the time. So, of course, in the last 2 years of high school, then I went to a co-ed school. So, of course, now all the boys were like, yeah, you're our buddy. I was called the buddy all the time. And then I realized, in a co-ed school, girls start wanting to have attention from boys. So I thought, And I noticed that the popular haircut wasn't this anymore, right? It was something longer. So I thought, okay, I'll just let my hair grow. And what was very curious was that when my hair was no longer here, but when all the dead cells came here, the moment it hit here, every boy who called me a buddy suddenly said, hey, you look good. Maybe we should go on a date. And I was really offended because I thought, wait, what's the difference, right? Once it moved from here to here, somehow everything changed. It was so strange. So of course I was not going to accept dates. I wasn't going to go out with any of those shallow people. But I just let my hair grow. And what was amazing was the moment it hit here, then it felt like all hell broke loose. For someone who grew up thinking, being mistaken for a small boy. Yeah, the world changed in a way that I just completely didn't understand. Like, I would be on the taxi and taxi drivers would chat me up or ask to introduce me to their son. I took a little shuttle bus every day to the train station, and the shuttle bus driver asked me out. I was like, because I have long hair? Like, what happened? I would travel. I went to Europe alone for a bit to see a friend, and every day I was in the park and someone twice my age would come and ask me to go for coffee. I'm like, what happened? Because of a bunch of dead cells, apparently. So I was actually really upset with the world at the time. Eventually, I got very cynical. I think I just thought, well, if this is how the world is, yeah, people just want to use you for your appearance, or if you look a certain way. If you have more dead cells on your head, you're going to get free rides and free food. Then I'll take it. I'll work it. That's just fine by me. So that's the kind of person I was in my early 20s. No. And very thankfully, I met Buddhism, and then I met men and women who had no hair, and they were very happy people. So that came as a surprise. So shortly after I took refuge, and at the time I was still with the long hair and wearing short dresses to the temple and realizing, oh, you can't really sit in a short dress, but okay. So shortly after I took refuge, I had the opportunity to go on a pilgrimage where people could take temporary vows. So this was in the Theravada tradition. And the men could take 10 precepts as a novice monk, and they could wear the robes temporarily. And then for the women, we could take 8 precepts and wear a white robe, and it was optional whether you wanted to shave your head or not. So I was inspired, and I thought, oh, okay, let's give this a try. Let's sign up for the whole deal. Yeah, take the precepts and then shave our head. And we were going to the Buddha's birthplace too, so it was quite a remarkable trip. And what I remember was when the nun was shaving my head, she told me, think about these things. Yeah, she said, repeat to yourself, head hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin. Yeah, so for those who are familiar with this meditation, it's a meditation on the foul nature of the body, or trying to see it in a more realistic way, and we break it down into parts. So she told me, as I shave your head, just keep repeating that to yourself. Head hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, and then go backwards. Skin, teeth, nails, body hair, head hair. Yep, so she said, repeat that to yourself. And then she said, you can also think, as I cut your hair, this hair is in the same nature, my body is in the same nature as this hair. Just as this hair is getting severed, this body's life force will be cut too. So I was in my early 20s at the time, and I think I had barely thought about anything related to death. So she told me to just reflect on that as she shaved my head. So I just remember sitting there and watching all this hair fall into my lap for the first time and trying to repeat that to myself. And it made a really strong impact on my mind. And it probably planted the seeds for this way of life. So I would say that was probably the most meaningful haircut I had had.